Hello, Awifians. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you all, wherever you may be in the world. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. Fantastic is a big word, but okay, let's take it as it comes. We have a thoughtful leader with us today. It's such a joy to see how women show up on this platform. It's such a joy to see people say, yes, I'm coming to support this platform. I would never be able to say thank you enough to those of you supporting me. And our guest today is one of them. She's such an amazing person that every time I go on to her live stream to listen to what she has to say, I have to reconsider an idea of mine. I have to rethink my ideas and my position. So please, without any further ado, let's welcome Harriet Rhoda from UK. How are you doing today, Harriet?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
But I'm so proud. The job itself is one heck of a joy. But having people like you supporting me, having people like you say, I'm coming. What do you need? How can we do this? It's such a pleasure. And I will never be able to thank you and many others that have come and all the work that you are doing for the community at large, but for women in general. So my first question to you before asking what the weather is like in the UK, which I shouldn't ask, right?
Terrible. It's really cold. It's overcast. So I've got tons of light on. I don't know if you can see me clearly. I might need some more light. I don't
No,
know.
no, you're
Um,
perfect. You're perfect. Even
yeah,
just with your voice, you're perfect. So let there be
thank you.
darkness. You will see shine.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
As the founder of Her Story Matters, you inspire me so much. Every time I come to your live stream, I have to think, okay, maybe I should reconsider this. So tell me who you are, what you do. I know what you do, but please share with me who you are with the audience and why, as the founder of Her Story Matter, what led you to this decision?
Right. So my name is Rhoda, and I'm the founder of Her Story Matters. And generally, Her Story Matters organization was founded to create awareness of social injustice against women and children, and also to give women a platform where they can have their voice heard and to empower women, because I feel that we still need to do a lot more to empower women. I feel like women's voices need to be heard. um, I feel like we still need to platform more women doing amazing things. And I use my platform to do that. And I also use my platform to kind of like have it as an extension of who I am. I love, just helping people with their business. One of the things that I do is I'm a business consultant. So I help people in their business, and I help leaders to kind of like form themselves and their message and how they want to be known. And I carry so many hats. I
I know.
also write, I also draw. So I try to use the outlet. I try to use the platform to kind of like just reflect everything about me and allow other women to be part of the platform as well, to have their voice heard. So, how did I get started? So my story is quite long. I started it in 2011, but I officially say that I started it in 2010. I
Yeah.
spent about 1 year just doing research based on what I wanted to feature and why I wanted to feature women, and just finding out areas where women were underrepresented. But the main reason that led me to do that was I went through rape, and it was such a horrible, horrible experience. I would not wish it on anyone. And because I went through that experience, I know how it feels to kind of like live with a shame and to be depressed, and you can't really share how you're feeling. You can't talk about it to anyone. And I went through all of that. I went through the shame, the depression. I went through all of that. And as I was going through that within me, on the outside, everything looked really well because I had a really good job. I was making money. So if I said to someone I was depressed, they didn't understand why I was depressed. There was no reason for me to be depressed according to them. So there was a barrier there based on how they would see me and how I would feel. And because of that, I was not able to talk to anyone. And I was I remember very well, it was one night I was thinking, okay, I can't continue living like this. It was such a bad experience, and I was thinking I'm going to commit suicide. So at the time I was about to commit suicide. This is in 2010. um, I was sitting there and I was thinking about my mom, 'cause she's such an inspiration to me. And I was thinking about the things that she went through, and I was thinking I need to write a letter to her, right? Because I'm thinking I have to let her know why I'm doing this. So as I'm writing the letter, I hear a voice within me saying, there's many people who feel the way you do. There's many people who live with shame. You know, how about giving people a place or showcasing a life of someone who has gone through that and they've made it on the end? They've come out and they're strong and there's no shame. And that's when I thought, okay, maybe this could be another idea. So I know it sounds really strange because on one side I was really depressed and thinking of suicide, and then I have this thought of other people could be going through that. And I say that was a very huge defining moment for me, because before that, my life was always about myself. It was always about how much money I make. It was always about how do I look, how do I feel. Everything centered around me. But when that shift occurred within me to think about other people, I believe that's when I found the purpose in my life. And I would say that Her Story Matters kind of like saved me. I know it's something that I founded, but it kind of like saved me and started taking me towards my purpose, because before that I didn't have a purpose. My purpose was making money and having fun.
Yeah.
So that's how it came about.
Well, bravo for your courage, because when I heard about your story, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But there is, we all have stories. And these stories are meant to be told to help, first of all, yourself, but
Yeah.
many others. Because if
Yeah.
no one said those stories, if you had committed that suicide, of what good? Because there are many other victims. There are many other victims. So I'm really, it's a privilege for me to be talking to you today. And thank God you didn't take your life, because I wouldn't have been talking to you today. So
Mm.
on my own personal behalf, thank you for not doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
love.
Yeah. So now, as we dive in the conversation, I would like to share with you and tell me if this resonates with you, the quote of the day, which says, open the window of your mind, allow the fresh air, new lights, a new truth to enter. That's exactly what you did. And again, my gratitude that you really let that window open, not only for you, but also for those who are going through, who will go through, and for those who will never have that experience, to be able to see through your light and to see through your window. So thank you very much. Now, with all due respect, we are coming here to talk about a very painful subject, which is mindset. And as African women, we have a lot to contribute to this world. However, our contribution is still very, very shallow. And shamefully, I blame this on cultural handover and our mindset. I know it's a subject we shouldn't be talking about. People don't want to talk about the shy away. They sometimes say, I'm blaming. I have my own story to share, and that's why we are all here today. So, my first question to you, therefore, is how do we Africans start using our story to acknowledge? First, we need to acknowledge that there is a fact, there is something holding us back. And we cannot contribute if we do not acknowledge there is something wrong. And we cannot even become who we should be because we've not acknowledged a fact. So, where do we begin as Africans, as African women? Where do we begin to say, oh, something is different? I'm not reacting the way people should react in this century. How do we begin? Where do we start?
Well, I think by having platforms like this and having those very open conversations, I think Africa as a whole, we have a culture of not being open. And when I say not being open is we have this thing where, things happen and people hide it. There's issues within the families and people hide it. And I think when you have that already, when you're covering things up on a family level, you cannot show up in society level, right? Because you always have something at the back of your mind. It's a subconscious thing. What if they find out about this?
Yeah.
So I think we need to be very open about what goes on, and we need to deal with the shame aspect of things. I speak to so many women, and one of the things that's holding them back is the shame. And I think Africa as a whole, we need to get over that shame, because we have so much to contribute. There's so many beautiful things about us. So why do we still hold on to that shame? And being open about things, having transparency, because many of them are not transparent. We don't have transparency in our communities. And when there's no transparency, so for instance, if I'm struggling with my business, I can't be transparent enough to you and say, can you help me with this? Because we have that shame aspect already. And we
Yeah.
don't have transparency. So I want you to think that everything about me is okay. I want you to think that I am doing so well, but I'm struggling. So we need to address that. We need to address the vulnerability. We need to understand that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to open up. It's okay to say, I'm not okay. I need help today. And I think there's also something else that I really disagree with. And this is, we've had this so many times. Oh, Black women are strong. I don't agree with that. I really do not agree with that, because what that makes Black women and African women in general is take on a burden that they cannot handle. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's some things, if you've reached your maximum, because we're supposed to be strong, you want to take on more on yourself just to prove that you are strong. And I don't think that that's a really good mindset. It's not a good mindset. It's not healthy for us as women either, because for instance, when someone is going through postnatal depression, they're struggling after they've had a baby, the shame of saying, I can't look after this baby, I'm not feeling well, the shame of having to say, I need help, right? Because as an African woman, you're supposed to be strong, you're supposed to be able to handle all of this stress,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to be able to have this I can do attitude, and sometimes it's just not true. You need help. So we need to get away from that. We need to really get away from that. We need to get away from the shame. We need to get away from the preconceived mindset. Like, if I look at you, I expect you to be a certain way, or you expect me to be a certain way. We need to get rid of all of that, and we need to really start addressing what is within.
Absolutely. We have so many comments. As you can see, shame is of the biggest setback in our society. It's okay to feel like things aren't working as well. It's okay to fall and rise again. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a symbol of strength. It's a symbol of success if you don't show your fear, your tears, or whatsoever.
Yeah.
But my question is, if it was so great, why is Africa in this mess? Why is Africa still in this mess? If being strong, brave, and everything, I am also speaking to myself, because me ask for help, whew, is like the next thing that God hasn't created yet. I'm honest. He's still thinking about that kind of asking for help thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, we were brought up like that, and sometimes even your burnout, you don't even know your burnout. You keep going like a machine. And my question is, for God's sake, why is Africa still so behind? If we were strong, brave, courageous, and why? So something is not working, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Um, it's a double-edged sword, I would say. One of the things that I believe that we are backward is because we look at the outside world for
Yes.
solutions, whilst we do have the solutions ourselves. Um, I think people have been brainwashed to think that the West has solutions for us, and they really don't, because they have their own stuff. I mean, you live in Switzerland, you see it. Um, they have their own stuff, and they deal
Yes.
with their own stuff. So I
Yes.
think Africa needs to start dealing with its own stuff. We need to
Yeah.
start addressing our own issues. We need to start addressing our own poverty. We need to start getting people to be accountable. And all of those things start from the family level. This is why we're saying we start from the family level, because I always say this, and some people might not agree with me, but that's how I feel. A nation's president is a reflection of the people, right? So if you're going to say that, if you're going to complain about that president is a reflection
of what's
of the
happening in your
people.
country. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yep.
if you have a corrupt president, then you have a corrupt nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Because that's how it works. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So we need to start addressing things from the family level. Then we go to the community level. Then we go to the bigger society. Then you affect the government. You cannot look for the government to solve your issues. Government is not there to solve personal issues. It's there to look after the country against other nations. You need to deal with yourself. The family unit needs to deal with itself. Then the society, the community, the extended family, that's where it all begins. But our problem is we look outside to get help to come within, and it's just not going to work like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. We all have the default setting to keep going. And yes, women were on the superpower of I can handle things. Oh, and I need, I know, I don't need help. I just said it. I'm still waiting for God to really put that thing out there. So don't expect me to say I'm not strong. Yeah, I'm strong.
Yeah.
And we need platforms like this to really come and laugh at yourself. Seriously.
Yeah.
What were you thinking of? So what am I thinking of? It's like break your neck and you're fine. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of this show and would love to make an appearance. You are welcome. Please come join us. It's your platform. It's yours. I'm just the person behind it. I'm just the vehicle. So please, anytime, email us and we'll do that. We need to get phones for the ladies in the villages to watch. Oh, how can we help? Get in touch so that we can do something for them. Get in touch. We'll definitely do something for them. Because, those are the people who need this the most,
Yeah.
One of the problems, though, is that they need resources. The African woman is strong, but they need resources. Rhoda, how much of resources is needed for this change to happen? I have my opinion. I'll follow you.
So
Resources,
when people need resources, what do they need? What are we thinking of when we say they need resources? So I'm just going to strip this to the very basic level, right? When we look at the rural area, what resources have they already got, right?
Yeah.
They have land, right? Because there's plenty of land out there. So if you already have land, to me, that's a huge commodity.
Yes.
In the West, people do not have land. It's scarce. In Africa, land is plenty, but people don't respect it, right? Yes. So one of the ways that people can utilize the resources is by ensuring the people in those communities are taught basic numeracy skills, basic skills in how to make money, because they can make money. You can change the lifestyle of the people there by helping them in smaller ways for them to be able to make money. What I don't believe is giving people things. I believe in equipping them, empowering them to do it for themselves. Because how long are you going to be able to give them that thing? You're creating a dependency system. Yes. And I don't like dependency systems because I've seen many organizations do that. I don't like dependency situations. I like someone being empowered. Tell me what you need, and I'll help you build whatever you need to be able to be on your feet.
Exactly.
And I saw that she said that advocacy, and I believe, yes, they do need advocacy. But then we have a how can I put this? We have a double-edged sword in the sense that we can go and advocate in different ways, but then they already have their own cultural systems. I, for one, do not believe in going somewhere and changing things. Like, I don't believe in changing it for them to be the way I think. I believe in going there and finding out what they need and collaborate with people to do it. I agree that people need the phones. And there's many organizations that can give phones, secondhand phones, to those communities so that they can be able to use them and have access to very different things. But I really believe that there's so much more that can be done. One of the things that I've noticed as well is when people don't have sustainable projects. So you get some funding, you get excited, you go into the community, promise people all these amazing things, you start the project, then you don't complete it. Africa has many projects that are still pending. They've started and stopped. So what I would say is people need to plan out things properly and strategize, and do not depend on funding. This is what I'm saying. You need to remove the dependency system, because you can't depend on funding all the time. We need to get in the place, teach people how to do things for themselves, let them run the project with their own money, with their own system. That's building a community.
I completely agree with you. And I'll go back again to that comment. And my contribution is, she says, one of the problem, though, is that they need resources. They are strong, but they need resources. I'm repeating what was on the screen. And in your mind, we should be asking, what is it that's stopping you from having the resources? To me, the question is answered by itself. It's a mindset thing. It's not me giving you. It's not, you are strong. You have the brain. What is stopping you from having that resource?
Yes.
That's where the change happens. I'm really grateful for this comment, because you've just pointed at the problem itself. It's not the money that we'll give you today. It's not the phone that we're going to provide you today that's going to get you out of there. We can provide you with zillions of phones and bundles and whatever. But if that mindset remains the same, you will be standing here in the next 25 years asking for the same resources.
And that's true. That is true.
Next comment that we have. We need people who can go train them. Advocacy. I worked with women in rural areas and understood first and no idea what their rights and privileges were. They actually fell prey to certain exactly. This is also very, very, very true.
Yeah.
This is very true. This is very
and
true.
I think what she said is really good, because you go in there and you work with them and you help them understand what their rights are and what their privileges are, and things that they can have access to and the way they can do things. And I personally believe in doing it this way, because then when you leave that community, you've changed people's thought process. Because changing someone's mindset is going to take some time. It's one of the things they say is, to be able to change kind of like a society in a new thought, it's going to take about 50 to 100 years. Yes. So if you're looking at 50 to 100 years, how are you going to cut that time down? How are you going to reduce that time down? If you want to be disruptive in that sense, you cannot do things the way you've always done them. If you want to be disruptive, then you make sure you input this in extracurricular activities after school, because you're talking to the leaders of tomorrow. So how do you effect change? You go to the leaders of tomorrow and you start from there. How do you, and when you do that, these leaders of tomorrow go and bring that change in the family as well. Sometimes the best thing is not going to speak to adults, because they've got a mindset of 60 years of thinking the same thing, doing things the same way, right? So you have to be very creative in how you do your disruption. And I think it's one of the things that we need to really figure out, and we need to plan it out. This is about planning and strategy. If you want to change a certain community, you don't just go there with a project. You have to plan it.
Exactly.
And you have to have in place how you're going to measure the progress. What kind of outcome do you expect? So things like this, it's not just people going in the communities. You need to have a plan. And it's a long-term plan. It's not 10 years and it's not 20 years.
It's a long-term plan. And this is how we try to solve it here, that we're not just going to change what we've come up with. You want an investor for a project? Very fine. But as we give you the funds, there's one thing you have to implement, which is insurance. You get an insurance because it helps you throughout that project. If you lose your job, if you fall sick, those are the little things that you can press your finger on without making too much noise. But if you take this banner and go into the countries and say, we want to change this, we want to make you roads, you're creating problems for yourself. You want credit? Fine. You want investors? Fine. Here you have your investors, but these are our conditions, and insurance is part of it. You take it, or you then slowly people get to understand the relevance, the importance of insurance. That's our sneaky way of putting it.
It's a good way of doing it because not many people have insurance.
No, no, no. Another comment: empowering them, like such platform, teaching them self advocacy, teach them self management, self. Exactly. So
Yes.
see, we're all coming to consensus here. We're all agreeing to something, that change needs to happen, but not in the usual way that we've been doing it. And we all need that change. I say advocacy again because in most places, the girl child will not be allowed to go to school. Yes, yes. But married off even as a minor, of the school of thought that when people know better, they do better. I completely agree. I completely
Definitely.
agree. Yeah, that's really true. Completely agree. But my question is, you and I know the truth. You and I are trying to make these changes. We all seem to agree on something. Why is it so difficult to implement simple things which could be implemented today?
Well, I think there's, this is a multi-layer issue that we're dealing with. One of the things that I find with African women, especially, is they don't show up. They don't show up in the rooms where discussions are being made. I've been in places where decisions are being made and the people the decisions are made for are not in the room. Their voice is not being heard. I'm a huge advocate for visibility because the more visible you are, the more your voice can be heard and your thoughts, people can listen to your thoughts. They might not agree with them, but they might get thinking. Because at the end of the day, you're not there to agree with everyone. You're just there to get people to start thinking, to start pondering over their life, because that's how people change. You don't change anyone. They have to start thinking about what someone said. And I feel like we just don't show up. We're not in the rooms. We're not in the places where things can happen. So if you're not there, I mean, I have done some free events where it is free, but they didn't show up. It's other nationalities that showed up. And you're thinking, hang on a minute, I was not doing it for you. But what can you do? If you don't show up for yourself, then you can't blame anyone else because it's your fault.
Yeah.
You have to show up.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I started Awave to begin with. Because in the circle of people I live with, there are not none Africans. And when I step in the shops, people ask me, oh, you're from America. And I'm like, no, I'm from
No.
Africa. Oh, you got married to, and I'm like, no, I studied here. So you see, it's one African woman in the midst of all this. And I'm asking myself, where are these guys? Where are they? And it's not that complicated to make this
And
leap
I'll
of
tell you where
faith.
they are because we've been told we're really strong. So you're killing yourself after work. Instead of showing up where you're going to be able to make a difference, you're running home to cook, clean, look after the children instead of asking for help. Let's
Yeah,
be honest.
yeah,
We've given ourselves so much activity that when we had something that would change our lives, we do not have space to show up.
yeah. But because we don't know. I'm gradually beginning to understand we don't know really deep down. I ask people, okay, give me your project. What is, and it comes back so empty, no percentage, no. People are not aware. And I tell them, you're killing yourself. Get investors, get a bit of space, breathing space. Then you can then rebuy shares. And they run away. Just run away. When I tell I'm bringing somebody in, it's like you're taking away something from them. And then they disappear.
Because opportunity comes in as work. Opportunity does not come as free things. That is not opportunity. Opportunity always comes up as work. So if they come to you and you're giving them work to do to better themselves, that's an opportunity. It's changing the mindset. It's how we perceive things. There's so many free trainings on how to put together
So
your
many,
own.
so many, so many, so
We're
many. And
going back to that. They don't show up.
yeah, Yeah, yeah. And you even see men, more of the men using the opportunity more than the women. I have more requests, more and more requests these last days from men than women. I'm like, we are a female platform, but it doesn't mean we don't want to serve men. But if you have more men than women, what do? We're back to square one.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
tough. It's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough. But tell me, you're so grounded and you really know where to navigate your boat. Paint for me a picture of your life growing up.
I think I was grounded, but in different things growing up. Um, so I grew up in a household of 6 kids, which was really, it's a crazy household, and I'm the fifth child. And everyone has got strong personalities. So you have to be super strong. You have to be 5 times as strong because I was the fifth child to have my voice heard.
Yes.
Um, my growing up was very interesting. My mom is a businesswoman and she worked in a bank. So she would go traveling and she would bring back clothes and sell the amazing clothes. So I saw her being very entrepreneurial as she was working. She was always doing different things to make money. And this came from her grandfather because as she was growing up, her grandfather my grandfather was a businessman. So he would do farming and everything else. And he would take my mother, and teach my mother things. He would teach my mom how to do stuff. And my mom was around that a lot. And my grandfather ensured that my mom finished her school, which was very rare in her time. And so when she got married to my dad passed away in 2015. But my dad was working for media, so he was a media graduate, and they were very progressive. I would say that my mom was when I look back, I think my mom was very progressive. When I was growing up then, I thought she wasn't, but now I'm thinking actually she was. And so growing up, I was kind of like a problem child, I would say that. I think I had so much creativity within me that was being utilized in a very crazy way. So I was super creative. So I was creative in mischief, right? And I was very creative in
I
mischief.
didn't see that come.
I was honestly, I really was, and I think I could write a book of mischiefs, right? Because I was that child. I had every creative way of getting away from trouble. And I was always very witty and a quick thinker, but in areas of trouble, right? So I would never get in trouble. If I'm caught, I had a way of getting out. So growing up, people thought I was going to be a lawyer because of that. And so I I had my oldest brother, who the firstborn. He when I was really young, when I was about 10 or younger than 10, he introduced me to Shakespeare and all these comic books. And I started loving literature and I started loving theater and I loved music. So I had all of that growing up. And in school, I was more interested in things like theater, music, and extracurricular stuff. I was not really interested in education. I thought it was boring, though I went through education. It wasn't my priority. I was just thinking, I want to get through this, right? Um, and when I finished school, I came here to study, and my mom was like, "What are you going to study?" And I was thinking, "Oh my goodness, do I really have?" It was kind of like you have to think about something to do, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my mom was working in a bank. She was doing finance and business, so that's what I thought I would do. And I did that. And when I finished, I worked in Dutch Bank for 2.5 years, and I hated it. I hated it. I hated the whole structure. It was, because I was very creative, but within that structure, it was stifling me,
Yeah.
right? And I left and I tried to find my way. And in trying to find my way, I started a dance school, which I ran very
Oh.
successfully. I got bored with it and I left it. Then I went and did PR and management, and I was in entertainment, and I was getting bored because I was trying to find something that I would enjoy. So in all of that, I would say I think I'm very grounded because I grew up around people who are very mature. So even though I was crazy in that sense, I still kind of like figured out who I was.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what I would do and what I would not do. So you would not force me to do stuff. I
Yeah.
always wanted to do things I wanted to do in that sense.
Mm.
Um, so I would say having that freedom to be able to figure myself out. And my mom allowed me that freedom because when I left, when I stopped working in Dutch Bank, I said to my mom, I think I'm going to go back to study. And she was saying to me, but what are you going to study? And I remember saying to her, I'm going to study marine biology. And she was quiet for a minute, right? And then she said to me, and where are you going to work when you do this? I had not thought about that because I was that kind of a child. I want to do anything. And I'm grateful to my mom because she never forced her way of thinking to me. She allowed me to just really become who I am. And by allowing me to become who I am, but still guiding me with questions, I think that helped me have more self-belief because arrived here on my own, kind of like through mistakes I was allowed to make. And I think that makes a huge difference when you allow your children to have that freedom to be able to find themselves out instead of worrying and trying to control them. And I feel I really had that from my mom. So just seeing how she was, seeing how my brothers were, my sisters were, being able to have my voice and having all of that creativity kind of like helped me to be where I am right now.
Amazing, amazing, and that's why you're grounded. You know, the mindset was in your family. It was quite of yeah. So yeah, thank you for sharing that story with us. We have comments that we should take before it gets too long because the comments
Okay.
can. First difficulty is that certain norms are in regions too, in religion too. Take, for instance, women were just allowed to start driving. Yes, that's true. I actually believe it's a long term project, like Rhoda said. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a long term project. Yeah, yeah. But it's
I mean,
great.
is it in Zimbabwe in 2020? That's when people are, is it Zimbabwe or what country is it? That women were allowed to be able to own land or something like that?
Yes, there is something. Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Mm.
That's true. That's true. I am so connecting with you right away, working on my next book, and I will be honored to have your story. Oh,
Oh my
yes,
goodness. I would
yes.
love to. Thank you so much.
Yes, 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 yes. This is the kind of connection we need on this platform. Let's put it out there. Let's talk to one another so we can create a better future. We are queens. We are raising princesses. We have to lead the way. There is no better way than just talking about what hurts and what's really
Definitely.
that what we really need for the change to happen. We've
Yes.
spoken about the lack of mindset for African women. And there is one thing I learned from you, from one of your live stream is major your major, minor your minor. You remember that? Maybe you don't even remember you said it. So my question is, what baby steps can we start using to measure our majors and minors? And what does this mean? Maybe you should explain a little bit to the audience. That was
Okay.
beautiful.
So
I was like, wow.
when I say major on your major, well, you minor on your minor, I actually mean that when you think about your major, what is your strength? Kind of like, so when I think about major, what is your strength? Is your strength speaking? Is your strength writing? Is your strength strategizing? Is your strength math? And if that is your strength, then you need to build on your strength. And say you're really a really good orator, for instance, and building on that would mean learning how to do presentations, figuring out what topics you're passionate about and how you can present, and looking for places where you can do that, looking for training sessions that you can do, looking for a coach that can help you with that. One of the things that I found is um, you get people who are really good in one thing, but they try to do everything and it just doesn't work, right? And if you're starting your business, there's some areas which naturally are going to suffer. It's just the way it is because you're starting a business.
Yes.
And if your strength is not in finances, you will need someone to help you with the financial side. You might be very creative, you're really good in ideas, but you're not good in kind of like maybe strategizing. So you need to find someone who can help you to strategize to make sure that your idea comes to fruition. I see people with incredible ideas, but really poor presentation. So you get someone who can help with the presentation so you can focus on your strength. So when I think about major on your major, that's kind of like what I'm talking about. And then how can you take baby steps? I would say find out what you're good at. I do regular self appraisals. I know it sounds weird, but I do self appraisals because I write down what I want to do and what I want to be able to achieve. I write down what character I want to build and what steps I'm going to take to build it. And ever so often, I do a self appraisal. I look at where I am. Am I where I wanted to be? Am I building on this? Where am I faltering? Because at the beginning of the year, everyone has big dreams. Everyone wants to do stuff. But by February, you've forgotten about it. But if you're doing your self appraisals properly, you're going to know whether you're growing or you're building, right?
Yeah.
So I do regular self appraisals. I check on myself a lot, and I spend a lot of time within. When I say I spend a lot of time within, I take time out from everything and all the noise, and I come back and I say, what does Rhoda really want? What does Rhoda really want to achieve? What is important for Rhoda? Is it important for me to show up in my authentic self? Is it important for me to have my voice heard? What is important for me? And I focus on those things. Because when you go on social media, you can see some people have got amazing branding or they're doing so many different things, and you can get lost in that because you start looking at what you're doing and you're thinking, actually, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I should do more of this. I should do more of this. And you get lost in that. I call it a rabbit hole. It's like when Alice in Wonderland dropped into that rabbit hole, everything was a mess.
Yes.
And having that strategy and plan helps you, be able to take that step by step, and soon it becomes a natural thing. You're able to think, I need to work on this. So I would say, write it down, plan it out, figure out what you want to do. How does it look like? And then start working towards that. And self-appraisals, and be really strong about that. Don't, from 1 to 10, where do you feel you are? And you have to be honest.
Yeah. I really agree with you completely. You've said so many things that you see me do this. It's not, it's just like tears coming out, and I'm like, I better hide myself. I'm so strong, I'm not allowed to cry here. God hasn't figured out that plan yet. And I must confess, when I put this very question, and you just rightly said it, you have to have appraisal of yourself. I have a 5-year plan. And in September, I asked myself, 4 years from now, will you be able to achieve that? And I just noticed in September, I had said every year I must do one of this thing, one more investment. And I noticed in September, I have done 2 investments instead of 1 for this year.
That's
so I
awesome.
asked myself, 5 years from now, will you be able to achieve this? And I was like, yes, I can. If I can do 2 this year, can I do 2 next year? Can I do 1 less? What is causing me stress? What should I take out that's not necessary? Because 5 years from now is still a long time, but if I keep on going on track, I will hit that goal.
Yeah.
We need to have that difficult conversation with ourselves.
Yeah.
As African women, it's like you're waking up, your legs hit the ground, you have to cook, you have to feed kids, you have to go to work, you go to market, there is no real time to think about your life. And this seriously has to stop.
Yeah.
It seriously has to stop. It's destroying the entire continent for no good reason.
Yeah.
For no good reason. So I really encourage each one watching this live stream. You really have to know where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. Contact Rhoda. Honestly, just have a chat. Chat with her and see what's good for you. See what you really need at this stage of your life. To me, 2020 is done. It's done. And when I start speaking of 2021, I'm speaking from March onwards. So it's like 5-6 months gone already.
Yeah.
Will you do something, one good thing for yourself?
Yeah.
One thing. So let's move to the next comment. Self-appraisal. Absolutely. A productive, yes. I think so too. I think we really needed her. We need to have this difficult conversation. We are going nowhere if we're sitting back at home just thinking of it on our own without spreading the word. It makes no sense.
I
Really
mean,
makes.
when you think about it, every establishments have got a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 20-year plan, 30-year plan.
Yeah.
So why should we not have it for ourselves? And
Yeah.
why are we not as strict as we are? Because we give our all to at work, so we should
Yes.
give our all to ourselves. So do you
Yes.
look at yourself and you say, I'm where I want to be, or there's areas I can keep building up on? And we have to do that because everyone does that. The government does that for you because they're saying by 18, you're an adult.
Yes.
So by 18, they've already planned for you. You finish school. So by 18, you're an adult. If the government is doing that planning on your life, by 68, you're not working no more. You should be able to sit down and say, within this time, I want to be able to do this. And I love what you're saying about being able to achieve 2 things within that period of time. And one of the things sometimes that happens that I see a lot with people is you can start off with a project and say, I want to do this particular project for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
But then the project evolves and it changes, and you have to leave it completely and pick up something else.
Yes.
And you have to have that flexibility and realize that do not make your journey your destination, because many people do that.
Let me
Do
tell
not
you, I've
make,
already failed. If I'm your student or client, I've already failed. And I'm confessing right here because I'm strong, because I'm African woman. I don't give up like that. Even if I fail, I stick my head, I stay there. I just told you, God has not figured that part out. Why do you keep pushing me to confess?
but it is true. And sometimes we make a journey a destination. Something is supposed to be part of what you're doing, but not where you're supposed to camp, right? So do not camp where you should not be camping. If something has outlived its purpose, maybe in your plan it looks like I can do this for, maybe I can keep doing this every year, but then the following year it's evolved. It's okay to leave it, because sometimes we flog a dead horse.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
okay to evolve. It's okay to change. African women,
Yes.
it's okay to
It's
say, I'm not
okay.
doing that anymore. I'm doing something totally different. My vision has evolved. It is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Because
because we
when your
grow.
mindset is changing, everything about you is changing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. We
Yeah.
evolve. We do evolve. That's completely true. I agree with you. And I stand corrected. I will rethink of that project that I'm camping on. Maybe you were just the right person to tell me to push it to the side. Now I'm now thinking, maybe this wasn't an amazing conversation. I want to keep my project. Exactly. Amazing advice. Fantastic. Yeah. You see, now everybody's shaking. It's like we have to think of that project again if it's really
I'm
worth
glad.
it. We have to really think. So now, while we think of that project, there are benefits of re-evaluating where we stand, our mindset, the way we think, if we're taking action, if that project itself is really worth it. How can the continent, the African continent, benefit when we, the African women, we've revamped our mindsets?
Oh, I think there's so many benefits when
Yes.
we revamp our mindsets. Number one, we're not afraid to collaborate,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we're not afraid of each other.
Yes.
Once you're confident in who you are and what you bring to the table, then you're happy to collaborate with people. And collaboration does a lot in a community. It brings a lot of change in a community. So we can see a lot of collaborations. We can see a lot of people working together to get things done. Because once your mindset is revamped, it's not about you anymore. It's about us. It becomes an us mentality. It becomes not about my legacy, but our legacy. And it becomes about what, it becomes about having more women in places of power, because we need that. We need a lot of advocacy for women issues in Africa, because that's one of the things that's holding us back. How women are treated, the opportunities they have access to. When our mindset is really shifted, then we see the necessity of kind of like looking after the fellow person. We see the communities evolve and communities change. I always say that women are the heart of a family, they're the heart of a community. So many things revolve around women. And when you change how women feel about themselves and their surrounding, you create you create a community where it's safe to share if you're really tired. You have so much support. You'd have things like crime rates reduce, because women are the best crime watchers. You do know
Yes.
that, right? They'll be
Yes.
like, I saw your child doing this. Your child should not be doing this, right?
Yes. Yes.
There's there's so many things that change. The economic system changes. I feel that one of the reasons why Africa is the way it is with regard to the economy is because women are not in their rightful place. And when I say rightful place, I don't want people to misunderstand me and think that I want to dethrone the masculine energy. I am
No.
not interested in that. I love men very much. Thank you. What I'm saying is that women and men need to work together,
Yes.
because you need both to make a society work. You need both input to make things work. So when you have more women strong in that place, then what you have is you have the collaboration between the two sexes, and you have a beautiful way of how society looks. You have women protected, you have men respected, you have children growing up in a way that honors the elders, because that's something that is lost. There's no respect anymore. Children are not brought up the right way. So there's so many things that happen when there's collaboration, and the nation grows, the nation thrives. So all this war of the sexes, if women can really get to that place where they feel strong enough, confident enough to work alongside men, and men are happy enough, confident enough, strong enough to work alongside women, it becomes a beautiful society. But now we don't have enough women in those places. We need those women in those places. We need their voices.
Completely agree with you. Completely agree. And let's not forget that women own the purchasing power anywhere on the planet, be it in Europe, any continent, they own the purchasing power. That would really be a big boost for the economy. Really big boost. I think you're frozen. There's one more. Yeah, you froze. I
Oh,
was
sorry.
just,
I'm
yeah.
thinking, what was that? Sorry.
No, no, no.
Sorry, Melissa.
I didn't let you go. No, no. If not, I'm going to take EasyJet. I'm on my way to the UK. Yeah, I was just saying that women do own a very, very huge portion of purchasing power, and that would be a huge boost for the economy if we could just try and shift things a little bit. And you're right. Let's not get confused by empowering women towards a better future. It's not trying to overthrow the men. That's not what we're saying. And also, let's not get confused between empowerment and cultural destruction. And that's why at the very beginning I said this is a conversation that's going to be a bit difficult because, use the word cultural handover.
Yeah.
I stick to that because I don't see what my grandmother or my mom handed over to me is irrelevant today. Certain things, moral, yeah, certain things. But
Oh, goodness.
80% of it,
Yeah.
80% of it is irrelevant. Whether you come tie yourself from head to toe like an angel makes no difference today. So
Yeah.
let's really hand over what's necessary. Times are changing and we need one another. I've not I mean I've been singing on top of the roof telling women about collaboration because we fear each other so much, especially in the African community, that we are thinking is the only thing on earth a man. We are so afraid of collaborating, because they will take my man. They will. Is that the only thing that exists on the planet? You have cars, we have bread, we have machines, we have shoes. So I think we should reconsider what we're fighting over here. So this collaboration
Exactly.
helps us to talk and to see each other as catalyst of a beautiful world.
Yes, definitely.
Wonderful ladies. Thank you so much, Ona. I saw your live stream. Yes, she was on the live stream that, major your major and minor your minor. I remember her very well. This is so good, so on point. Thank you very, very much. We also need women to believe they can do it. Yeah, that's a good point. No job is actually for a particular. Women need to keep thriving and breaking grounds. That's true. That's very true. Completely
I
agree.
think that goes back to your cultural, the comment you made about the
Cultural
cultural
handover.
aspect. And I think the same lady made a comment about, hanging on to outdated things, such as, that affect especially women. One of
Yeah.
those things you mentioned was religion, and it's so true. So we need to really come out of, how can I put this? We need to come out of those old clothes
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
the old way of thinking, and kind of like, coming out of that old way of thinking does not mean we do not respect our elders. That will always be there.
No. No.
It just means that we need to do things differently because the old ways of doing things is not working.
It doesn't work. No, no.
Yeah.
It's not that, I mean, it's not relevant anymore. Let's be honest.
Yes,
It's outdated. Collaboration is the key to the future. We cannot survive without it. The division only serves to hold us back.
that's true.
I see perfection. I see change happening. We just have to talk about it.
Yes, we need to be open to it.
Exactly. Exactly. We must believe in each other. Rhoda, I believe in you.
I believe in you. That's why I'm here.
Respect history, white revelation in you. Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree with that.
So, what's your definition of mindset? Because we've been talking about mindset. What's your definition of mindset?
Whew, to me, mindset is not just how you think, it's how you act. Um, because we know the mind has got the conscious and subconscious. And most of the time we focus on the conscious, but it's the subconscious that really drives us. Um, and when children are born, their mind is very malleable and it's not made up. It starts getting made up by the age of 8. That's when they start forming perceptions, which are based on how they were brought up,
Yeah.
how people around them behave. So if your parents were a certain way, the child will have adopted that in the subconscious,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they will not even know that.
Yeah.
So I believe when we're talking about the mindset, we're not just, in fact, we're not even talking about the conscious mind. We're talking about changing the subconscious mind. And when we're talking about changing and addressing the subconscious mind, I would say the best way to be able to change your mindset is when people are having conversations, if you don't agree with something, ponder over why do you not agree with that? And sometimes it comes by you being offended by something or someone. And where there's a strong offense, it's a thing that you have to really sit down and figure out, why am I so offended by what they said? Why am I so offended by what this person has done? And that really takes you to the root of where the big issue is. So for instance, if you see someone wearing a really short dress, why are you so offended by that? And when you look deep down, it could be your beliefs about showing off your legs, or how women should dress. We all have all of those
We
subconscious things
all
that
do.
we really need to kind of like really start digging into. And the worst thing is you bring all of that into your business. You bring all of that into your work. You bring all of that into anything that you want to do.
Yep.
And I believe that sometimes that's what really holds people back. because of your belief system that you are not even aware that you have. So mindset goes all the way from your subconscious to your conscious and to your actions.
Yeah. However, is there any perfect mindset?
No.
So we're back to square one.
There's always evolving. There's
Yes.
always growing.
Yes.
There's always being aware that your perception is not the perception. Your perception only matters to you because of your positioning. My positioning might be different. It's like if someone is on top of a mountain, what they see is totally different from someone who's at the bottom of the mountain. And we need to be able to understand that different point of views and having those discussions, because it's only through discussions that we can grow and we can adopt what is beneficial for where we are going. And I think the best thing is to really have an open mindset. I find Africans have a closed mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that's from the cultural handover. But we are not saying, we're not here, we're not saying, as you just said, we should have an open mindset. We are saying, if the mindset that we have as African is open enough, how come we are the poorest? How come we are the we are questioning the mindset that we have? And since the answer to all those questions are more negative than positive, it's time to revamp. And as we can see from comments right here, we all agree something has to change.
Yes.
So we're not criticizing. There are good things with the culture that we have. We have ethics in certain things that I haven't seen anywhere else.
Yes.
However, that same ethics becomes extremely dangerous at a certain point. And that's where we are. This is where we are at this junction where things become dangerous. And instead of making us move forward, it's pushing us right back in that hole where we were years ago. That's why we question our mindset, not because we think we know better, not because we think it's wrong. It's that we've come to the point where it's no longer serving us like it should.
Yes, definitely.
Comments? That's good assessment and evaluation of our own thoughts. Absolutely. Limiting belief system always holds us back. We couldn't disagree on that, yeah? Thank you very much, Roland, for your comment. A child is born to rather a clean slate, but the imprint period 0 to 7 or 8 is when they pick up things and store it up in the subconscious mind. And this actually, in most cases, forms their belief system. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Went back to church. I just joined the group. Great effort, ladies. I'm looking forward to being part of this. You are more than welcome, and we look forward to. We will contact you if you don't contact us. So we'll do our best to be of service in our own way to you. Fix. We are forefather did it, so we must do it that way. Growth mindset allow us reevaluate and check if things that happened in the 90s are still good for today's generation. I love this, people. I love this platform. I love this. I love this so much. We need to empower them. Yes, we need to, and we need to talk about it, and we need to really ask ourselves the right questions. I just confess here that I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm not. I don't need help. So
I used to be like that, but now I need help. When I need help, I say it.
I learned the hard way, girl. I learned the hard way.
I'm not gonna die for nobody. Trust me.
Oh, no. I learned the hard way. It was a pleasure having you. One more question before we let you go.
Yeah.
What's the legacy you want to leave for your continent?
Ooh, that's a loaded question.
I know.
That is a loaded question. I see myself as a thought leader.
Yes.
And being a thought leader means you get people to question how they do things. I would say I'm a troublemaker. I'm a good troublemaker, though. I get people thinking. So the legacy I would love to change is one of a great changed mindset. I want to get people thinking. I want to get people questioning what they believe and why they believe that. I want people to think for themselves, not to allow their leaders to think for themselves, not to allow their religious leaders to think for themselves. I want people to really think for themselves, because it's only when you start thinking and reasoning. See, when we go through school, we're not taught critical thought. We're just taught 1+1 is 2. And when you come out in the world, then if I say to you the sky is blue, then it has to be blue just because I've said it. And I want to be able to question that, because you can see the sky is blue, but I can see that it's pink, depending on the condition that I have.
Exactly.
So I want people to be able to have that opportunity to have conversations. I love breaking down difficult conversations and exposing things. I want to leave a legacy of freedom.
Yeah.
I want freedom.
And you know what? And you know what? People are feeling it. Look at who you are.
Thank you.
We appreciate you very much. We need people like you on this platform. We need your support on this platform. We need people who can speak the truth to people. And I have my own way of saying things. But you have, I'm like, take it or leave it. Okay, don't want to listen. Okay, next time. Okay. When it gets too much, and I'm like, okay, we stop there. But you have your way of, as you said, get people thinking of what's true, what's good for them, what's beneficial for them. And if you don't mind, we will need you on this platform, because change cannot happen with this thinking. It's not possible.
No.
It's not possible. Until we start seeing others differently and thinking it's okay for them to be different. Because that's what the world is all about. We should not be the same. We are never going to be the same. We are all different.
Yes.
We have to start accepting the differentness of each other, but then using those two to build something beautiful, because this is what Africa deserves. It's a beautiful continent, amazing people, but we are all over the place. See, I just told you, I just say my thing, I just told you, I didn't just...
But I use that word a lot. That's why I'm laughing. I use that
word
a lot.
Okay. It's not because...
and I think what you're saying is really beautiful. I love what you're doing, and I think it's very important. I think it's important for the message to go out. I think it's important for more women to engage with what you're doing. I think it's really important to have various women coming together, having discussions, going back in their communities and doing stuff. I think there's a huge need for collaboration. In the place of collaboration, then you can adopt different strategies of doing things, because we need that. And being able to work together and do things as a unit, because when you're together, it's harder to attack people who are united. It's harder to attack people who are moving forward as one. It's easier to attack someone who is standing on their own.
Yes.
So the easiest thing to do is to collaborate and accelerate, and then dominate.
We are going to do just that. I will put something together. We are going to revamp this mindset of ours.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you so much to the viewers for the lovely comments and everything you've added on. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure having you. Thank you for your time, and we'll keep the collaboration going behind the scenes.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye.
Bye.
So that was it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all your comments. I see we have one more comment. We're going to take that comment. No other continent has this brain power like the African continent, but we can unite. We can unite no matter where we are, but we need a strategy and direction. I completely agree. Thank you for your time. We are going to do our possible best to make this platform the place where we can collaborate, the place where we can really share what we need as change in our lives. My name is Lilian Mole. It was a pleasure spending this hour with you. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.